The stadium buzzed with an electrifying energy as the championship game drew nearer to its climax, resonating throughout the massive structure. Scarlett Foster moved through the VIP area with practiced efficiency, her plain janitor's uniform blending her into the background. Her presence was as ordinary as the hard bristles of her broom, yet essential for maintaining the sheen expected in such elite surroundings. As the janitor, Scarlett was used to being invisible, slipping between the ornate fixtures of the VIP tunnel like a shadow. Her thick regional accent made her an easy target for snide remarks from the bustling staff, who busied themselves with catering to the celebrities and influential executives gathered here. A server smirked at her attire before hurrying away, while a staff manager lightly scoffed when she politely asked them to watch their step. The air was crackling with anticipation, so much so that Scarlett barely noticed the subtle change in the atmosphere at first. The strong, pungent scent of gas crept upon the crowded lounge, unfurling silently like an unwanted guest. Discomfort and whispers immediately permeated the room as awareness of the danger spread among the attendees. Panic ignited like a match striking dry tinder, urging bodies forward chaotically before reason could catch up. The narrow tunnel entrance became a funnel of confusion. A stampede was brewing, intent on pushing its way through with reckless abandonment. Scarlett's heart skipped a beat, her eyes honing in on the scene unfolding like a pressure cooker reaching its boiling point. In that critical moment, as chaos threatened to engulf everything around her, Scarlett didn't crumple. Something deep inside her kindled, ancient instincts kicking into gear, ready to guide the panicked crowd to safety. As Scarlett absorbed the scene before her, a dissonant symphony of fear and confusion crescendoed throughout the VIP tunnel. People pushed, some shouting, others frozen, their terror as palpable as the gas scent itself. She could feel the impending disaster at the edge of its tipping point, seconds away from descending into utter mayhem. Security guards stood motionless, their expressions a mixture of confusion and indecision. Their training hadn't prepared them for this, neither the overwhelming scent pressing upon their throats nor the panic overriding rationality. Time seemed to fragment into crystalline segments of choice, each second sharp with possibility. In the chaotic maelstrom, Scarlett spotted a portable public address microphone, an artifact of the night's entertainment, now left abandoned amid the turmoil. Moving with surprising agility, she grabbed it, her fingers steady, and unlocked the switch. Her voice cut through the cacophony, clear and resolute, surpassing even the panicked murmurings. "Everyone, please stop," she commanded, the echo of her voice a firm tether in the swirling disorder. Her tone rippled through the crowd, an unexpected bow that reached through their collective panic. Those nearest paused as recognition dawned that someone was taking control. Her calmness was almost tangible, a lifeline offered without hesitation. "Take slow, deep breaths," Scarlett continued, her voice embracing the space between their fear. "To get out safely, you must remain calm. Listen to my instructions." As her words registered, the human tide began to slow. Some whispered to others, the janitor was taking charge. Scarlett sensed a shift, not toward complete trust, but certainly toward attention. The heedless push weakened, releasing a little, the crowd pulling back like the ebb of a reluctant tide. Moving through the throng with purpose, Scarlett secured the tunnel doors, effectively halting the pressure building toward the narrow exit. There were alternative paths, she knew, routes filed deep in her memory from countless night shifts spent mapping the stadium's labyrinthine corridors. If she could direct them rightly, they'd find safety. "Security personnel, help me direct people to the side exits," Scarlett instructed confidently. "There are safer paths this way. You need to assist the elderly and children first. We need to make sure everyone knows where to go." At first, some remained skeptical, questioning among themselves why a janitor was orchestrating the response. Others, moved by her firm instructions, recognized necessity outweighing pretense. "This way." Scarlett pointed, urging calm movement toward unlocked side doors, previously unseen amidst the chaos. Her guidance broke the paralysis that gripped the guards, and they snapped into action, assisting people as Scarlett's words led them. Parents scooped up crying children, grateful for direction, and their anxiety shifted into cautious hope. Along with the security team, Scarlett formed the focal point in a synchronized effort to redirect the crowd, each person a vital valve releasing pressure from the congested funnel. People began filing through the correctly marked exits, the streaming crowd now guided by Scarlett's sharp, unwavering commands. Her authoritative presence quelled erratic movements. People listened, soothed by the decisiveness in her tone. As the minutes stretched, order gradually emerged from disorder. Scarlett continued encouraging calm, reiterating safety until her voice became a mantra promising rescue. The cacophony of uncertainty dulled, supplanted by a rhythm of slow, steady steps guided by her reassurance. In those tense moments, resentment subsided. Skepticism transformed into stunned acknowledgement as people recognized the role that invisible janitor played in their preservation. Some voiced apologies, murmured thanks brushing over her like healing balm, although her focus remained anchored on managing the remaining crowd. Scarlett moved through the throng like an experienced conductor orchestrating an escape. Her everyday invisibility shattered in the light of responsibility she bore with grace and a certainty born of past lessons. Those who had mocked or ignored her now heeded her with quiet awe, some starting the chant of gratitude among murmured phrases of disbelief. Slowly, the gas's menacing grip on the senses faded as fresh air filtered in through the open pathways, dissipating the potential for tragedy. Relief unfurled visibly through the crowd, faces softening as they exited the claustrophobic grip of the tunnel into the open night air. With the last guests shepherded towards safety, Scarlett finally released a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Her limbs felt heavy with the retreat of adrenaline, the weight of her role in averting a catastrophe suddenly tangible. Around her, security staff and remaining personnel circled hesitantly, respect blooming in eyes that had once only glanced past her. The broader realization of Scarlett's actions spread wide and quick through word and shared experience. She had stilled a crisis that had threatened the lives of many, her actions resonating like an unintentional heroism she wore unassumingly, a quiet defiance to the disregard she'd long endured. In the aftermath of uncertainty, voices rose in collective remembrance of the janitor who had become their savior. The transformation was not merely reactive, it was testament to the unseen potential housed within ordinary faces, now unveiled through necessity and courage. Scarlett Foster was no longer invisible, a presence recognized beyond her sphere, indispensable in the delicate balance between chaos and safety. As she stepped away from the bustle of relief crews and crowd management, Scarlett found herself momentarily alone in the hushed corridors that led away from the chaos but toward a different clarity. The adrenaline now receding, left her to confront the whirlwind of emotions and memories that the incident had stirred within her. Scarlett's mind drifted back to echoes of an earlier life. A time when jaunts through corridors were training exercises in focus and precision rather than necessitated by gas leaks and stampedes. Years ago, youthful aspiration had sparked her journey into paramedic training, her heart set on the path of quick response and saving lives. An image of her younger brother, Ben, flashed vividly. His eager grin as she demonstrated medical basics on a teddy bear peppered with makeshift bandages. That simpler time stood as a monument to ambition and familial love intertwined, until illness shattered their world. Ben had developed leukemia, his need for care turning Scarlett's life into a rotating pendulum between hope and anxiety. Scenes unfolded in her mind, moments where she left lectures early or skipped clinical assignments. Instead, she immersed herself in hospitals and care schedules, nurturing Ben through chemotherapy while feeling fragments of her own dreams disperse like fragments on the wind. Her instructor's understanding did little to stem the erosion of her academic progress. Sacrifice morphed dreams into shadows swallowed by necessity. Despite earning praise for exceptional aptitude in crisis response, Scarlett's absentee trail grew heavy, resigning her eventually to let go of formal training. She whispered goodbye to the white coats and sirens, embracing late shifts and janitorial duties that allowed her to provide for Ben while his tiny body fought monumental battles. That turbulent chapter came to an unforeseen close when Ben's brave battle went dim, leaving Scarlett adrift in unforeseen silence. Grief's weight pressed heavily, marking everything with numbing grayness, a pervasive sense of one chapter's end with uncertain beginnings looming silently. Paramedic opportunities dissipated as the world continued its relentless momentum without pause. Former colleagues dispersed like desolate dreams floating between station rotations, leaving Scarlett in apologetic ghost-haunting stadium halls instead of emergency rigs. Scarlett wrestled away from nostalgia's grip, memories mired in bittersweet tenderness entwined with regret. Recent events had freshly harmonized in her heart's recesses, where the will to protect remained untarnished beneath latent potential. Even night shift janitors held dormant power, awaiting rebirth through the crucible of challenge. In whispers and fragments, Scarlett recalled another poignant event that weighed heavily upon her, a rescue call during one tumultuous winter. Across glaring headlights and skid-marked roads, an overturned bus awaited. The chaos amidst scattering students had punctured through the tune of her steadfast training. Noise levels soared, adrenaline surging through in taut clarity, visions sharpened into crisp focus as Scarlett strode forward with her team. Despite her tenacity, confusion unfurled like an orchestra of miscommunication. Amidst calls and blaring alarms, a swift sequence led to a tremendous failure, a child lost in the overlapping tones of fear, whose absence marked Scarlett's resolve with permanent imprints. Rattled by circumstances and things breaking wrong, the incident deepened her discernment. An understanding bloomed within Scarlett, lives depended on grace amid chaos, harmonious resolve rather than discordant presumptions. Leadership emerged from clarity forged under pressure. This singular event underscored the finer threads binding past lessons in medicine and caretaking. What began as budding elocution flowed seamlessly toward preserving lives against tumultuous tides where needs collided openly, requiring one steady voice to anchor lives afloat. But life's twists brought her elsewhere. A freak accident involving slippery chemicals altered Scarlett's trajectory farther from adrenaline-driven patches into simpler backgrounds. A brief lapse saw her fall, illuminating risk yet casting stadium roles as softer landing in absence of ongoing injury. Scarlett's resultant transition from saving lives to mundane maintenance masked her determination. Stadium management assigned her restricted janitorial duties as safety warranted moderation. Invisible assignments persisted in shadows of inquiry, yet Scarlett navigated transcendent alleys with pride camouflaged beneath unassuming garb. Immersed in routine assignments, Scarlett fostered intimate understanding of stadium systems and layouts, knowledge which transcended daily operations into potential emergency avenues. Passageways became her internal map, schematic understanding ready for calls demanding fluid recall. Peers nudged her warmly, recognizing dedication unspoken beneath crisp uniforms. These everyday companions bore silent sympathies for hidden potential, their presence offsetting her lingering bittersweet regrets tracing untraveled paths. Yet on this fateful night, her inherent skills reclined like a primordial beacon igniting during necessity's call. She had returned to the stadium after hours, honing her connection to behind-the-scenes facets few observed. As with her experiences developed outside frenetic blare of lights and audience heads, she was ready regardless of employment terminologies. The mob's dispersal reminded her, critical junctures needed deft arms wrapped protectively around chaos. Lost scripts transformed into newfound faith fortified beneath pressing trial by ordeal. This was Scarlett's chance to reignite aptitude, never lost but dormant within an external framework steadfast in its mission to remain hidden. In some of moving transitions, she emerged resolute and ready. Scarlett's paramedic past had never truly dimmed under janitorial veils, rather, it lingered steadfastly beneath a practitioner's humble demeanor. Bright lights unveiled deep-seated capabilities, fragments fused into crystal realization poised for new responses. Here, standing quietly and ruminating on memories blooming verdant among shadows where Ben's courageous support resonated warmly, Scarlett made peace with barriers and risked moderate influences. She remained aware of life's capriciousness marked indelibly across brave hearts carving legacies within unexpected roles. As Scarlett re-entered the bustling scene fiend with responders and stadium personnel, there was a noticeable transformation in the energy surrounding her. The initial pandemonium had subsided, leaving behind an atmosphere thick with relief and gratitude. People calmly trickled out, conversing animatedly about the night's unexpected happenings, while crews worked efficiently to ensure continued safety. Scarlett stood at the edge of the now-clearing tunnel, silently surveying the orderly dispersal she'd instigated. Relief crews, now in control, deferred to her with nods that carried a mixture of admiration and acknowledgement. Her resolve had warded off what could have spiraled into tragedy, and now, in the cooling aftermath, her actions were etched into the memory of every witness. One of the security supervisors approached Scarlett, offering a handshake that spoke volumes of respect. "Thank you," he said earnestly, his eyes reflecting sincerity. "What you did back there saved countless lives. None of us saw the danger as clearly as you did." Scarlett accepted his gratitude with quiet humility, a small nod serving as her acknowledgement. Not for accolades had she reacted, but because a fundamental part of her wouldn't allow inaction in moments demanding responsibility. As word of her bravery circulated, other officers and stadium staff joined in offering her thanks, their initial perceptions upended by her composed heroism. Some guests who had calmed their fears through Scarlett's lead now approached with tearful faces, extending gratitude through embraces and heartfelt words. The collective affirmation was both humbling and empowering, tapping into a reservoir of strength Scarlett wasn't fully aware still existed within her. Unbeknownst to her, eventgoers had captured the entire ordeal on their phones. Social media quickly became flooded with footage showcasing Scarlett's vocal command over the overwhelmed crowd. Clips of her seizing the microphone and orchestrating the crowd's safe evacuation circulated rapidly online, with hashtags commending #HeroJanitor trending locally. Her agency and authority, once negligible to peers, shone unapologetically, casting her not as a mere janitor, but as a beacon in chaos. Not long after, Scarlett was approached by the event's organizer, a finely suited man whose previous indifference now transformed into respect. "Miss Foster," he began, slightly bowing his head. "I must commend you on how you handled yourself. Had it not been for you, this could have ended far worse." He paused, visibly grappling with the gravity his words acknowledged. "We wish to extend an official recognition at our next meeting. Your actions deserve the credit they reflect." Scarlett nodded, accepting the invitation with a mixture of gratitude and reticence. The gesture signaled an elevated appreciation for her talents, an acknowledgement finally surfacing from beneath anonymity's familiar veil. As hours passed and the event dwindled into remnants, Scarlett noticed how fellow workers and acquaintances now approached her differently. Gone was the dismissive air or guarded derision she'd often encountered in less public settings. Now, smiles greeted her along with earnest inquiries about her well-being. Those who had previously overlooked her now listened intently, their expressions lined with the earned respect she hadn't sought but innately deserved. "You've been here all along, just waiting to do something like this, haven't you?" one of her coworkers asked in wonder. "I never knew," they added, shaking their head with newfound esteem. Scarlett offered them a soft smile in return, aware of the rare moments like these when life's layers peeled back, revealing glimpses of hidden truths. She was no longer invisible. The narrative she'd left behind glittered like stars piercing through a night veiled by obscurity but now bathed in recognition. Beyond the stadium, the wider world awakened to who Scarlett had always been. Online sleuths uncovered morsels of her past, award ceremonies she'd once attended, and old interview snippets still catalogued in niche spaces of the internet. Her story gained traction, chronicling her paramedic training, community involvement, and unwavering commitment to protecting lives. A small article in a local news outlet later offered a glimpse into her time taking care of her brother and her brief tenure in emergency response. It resurfaced the human dimension that merged fidelity and sacrifice, a narrative that resonated deeply with readers and viewers alike who sought relatable heroes in ordinary heroes, people like Scarlett. Back at the stadium, emotions communicated heart to heart. Volunteers threw together an impromptu celebration to honor Scarlett and mark her transition from the shadows into the light. Around her gathered newfound friends and kindred spirits who reflected the diverse faces of those she'd saved. Their conversations brimmed with exuberance and gratitude, wrapped with a sense of camaraderie cultivated through experience shared. As she navigated from one group to the next, Scarlet recognized amid those familiar faces something exhilaratingly unfamiliar, a palpable shift rendering her place here no longer on the periphery but intricately interwoven into the fabric of their shared journey. The evening concluded with exchanged stories and promises of further connection, intertwining their lives beyond tonight's confines. Scarlet saw beyond tomorrow's horizon with the dawning understanding that her journey was far from over. One chapter had drawn to a close, yet the epilogue heralded myriad possibilities she deemed worthy of exploration. As she turned from the circle, preparation beginning for the stadium's gradual descent into night's embrace, she found her heart soaring with rhythms rediscovered, the metaphorical cardiogram of her past merging into one hopeful beat. Scarlet Foster was no longer confined to anonymity or evanescence. She stood defined, galvanized by courage and recognized by the world she had constantly cared for, ready to chart a new course illuminated by her reawakened passions. In the days that followed the event, Scarlet Foster's name spread with the fervor reserved for tales of true heroism. Stories chronicling her decisive actions at the stadium flooded social media and local news outlets with praise, transforming her from the shadowed figure of the night shift to a celebrated personality. A child from an old neighborhood sent a drawing of Scarlet the Savior, a title that made her smile at its innocent optimism. Amidst the influx of recognition, Scarlet quietly continued her regular camouflage duties at the stadium, appreciative of their familiarity yet mindful of the altered landscape of her routine. Interactions with her coworkers and supervisors, previously perfunctory, now brimmed with warmth and admiration. The encouraging conversations about safety procedures reflected a burgeoning respect for Scarlet not merely as a custodian of the premises but as a guardian of lives. It was during a late afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows through glass-paneled windows, that Scarlet received an unexpected formal envelope. The letterhead bore the insignia of a prestigious emergency services academy, known for training elite paramedics across the region. She opened it carefully, her heartbeat a steady drum in anticipation. "Dear Ms. Foster," the letter began, "in recognition of your exemplary performance and quick response under emergency conditions, we are pleased to offer you a place in our advanced paramedic recertification program." A gateway previously sealed had now swung wide open, offering her a path back toward her long-lost calling. The opportunity was immense, the chance to rekindle her dormant skills under expert guidance enticed her deeply. Yet Scarlet found herself hesitating, examining the fear hidden beneath her instincts. It was the fear of rebuilding again, of facing personal trials reborn from the ashes of her dreams abandoned years prior. Scarlet spent the next few days contemplating the decision. She was mindful of her emotions, and she believed in dealing with them by facing them head-on. Peers and friends provided thoughtful support, illustrating serene conversations spun with hopes and reassurances pushing upon her uncertainty. "You've always had it in you," a dear friend reminded her over coffee. "Look at how you handled everything. More than a janitor or even a paramedic, you're meant to lead and inspire. This is yours." Scarlet nodded but found herself staring into her drink, wary of the weight of expectation. Her role in the stadium had given her unexpected gifts, community, stability, and moments of genuine connection. Why risk what she could already cherish? The catalyst arrived one evening when Scarlet sat reviewing footage and interviews from the night of the gas leak. There she saw herself commanding the scene, her voice cutting through fear with power she hadn't realized she possessed. Listening to the testimonials of those she guided, recalling the heartfelt gratitude in each handshake and tearful thanks, made something clear: her potential had never faded, circumstances had only postponed its flowering. The conversations transitioned from generational experiences in which different people admired and revered the legacy she'd begun to build. A mother whose child Scarlet had guided to safe passage that chaotic night approached her with misted eyes, offering a simple "thank you. You changed all our lives," and questioned regret's persistence within Scarlet's determined heart. The comments became a quilt sewn with hope, and respect from peers increased the stirring warmth growing within Scarlet. Her spirit tingled with the realization that she was never meant to remain dormant. The journey she paused could resume. She was ready to reclaim her purpose with renewed vigor, with life experience augmenting her innate skills and compassion. Days later, Scarlet found herself penning her acceptance letter to the Academy, definitive strokes marking both a new beginning and a continuation of her journey as a guardian of life. The forthcoming challenge lay not only in academic pursuit but entwined with the undercurrent of personal redemption, recovered agency, and renewed commitment. As she submitted the letter, Scarlet felt the weight of something unburdening within her, a cleansing removal of cobwebs spun by doubt and grief. Her path had adapted across different roles, and as the narrative evolved, each part laid the cornerstone for her transformative leap forward. The day finally came. Dressed in the crisp uniform newly sent from the Academy, emblazoned with insignias denoting both her past training and her new commitment, Scarlet stood outside the modern facility marking the starting line of a fresh chapter. Her heart, no longer anchored by invisibility, soared with possibility undiminished by past detours. A final glance toward the sun-kissed stadium reminded her of how far she'd traveled from regret-laden lanes, journeys through shadows now embraced amidst purpose's glow. New mentors and fellow students awaited within the Academy, welcoming her with warmth befitting Scarlet not as novice, but as peer arriving home. Buoyed by the resurgence of forgotten dreams, Scarlet exuded silent assurance as she stepped forward into the training center's halls. Her stride was confident, emboldening the air with energy rekindled from unspoken potential. In unison, she'd seized opportunity's beckoning hand, determined, no longer confined by historical regrets nor ghost-haunted paths. Each day of training and each class absorbed refined Scarlet's abilities further, intertwining experiential intricacies honed from stardust and shadow. She became more than an amalgam of success, trial, and reflation, poised to shape a legacy not through isolated exploits, but through persistent resolution. Years later, the echoes of her laughter mixed with those of colleagues, mentors, and aspirants she'd guided along similarly winding paths. Scarlet remained rooted in purpose, building structures of fortitude, shaping lives like constellations blazing across night skies. Her legacy became a canvas painted through the colors of resilience, courage amidst chaos, and the warmth of knowing when to embrace extraordinary within every mundane moment.